The following program is brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
This is the Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment advice and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter, which you will hear in just a moment, who will work harder for you than anyone else. Today, the topic on the table is gold versus stocks. Boy, is this an explosive topic. First of all, Ken, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Yes, thanks, Dave. Welcome, everyone.
Let's begin as we look at our subject of gold versus stocks. Let's look at the economy today, and let's look at a couple of different aspects of the economy. I want to get to stocks in just a moment, but let's look at just the dollar itself. How solid is the dollar?
Not solid at all. It's imploding. It's losing value on a daily basis, and the more they print, the worse it's going to get. So the dollar right now seems like a lame duck, just waiting to roll over.
It is easy to say that the dollar is losing value, but why? Why do you say that?
Well, they're printing trillions of dollars, it seems like weekly, just giving away money, stimulus checks, programs. Where's it going to come from? In the past, when we had a recession, interest rates used to be lowered maybe 400 or 500 basis points. Well, that really option doesn't exist today, as interest rates are already low. So when President Obama took office, we had about 10 trillion in debt. When he left office, we had about 20 trillion. President Trump in 4 years brought it to 28 trillion, and we could be at $40 trillion in debt over the next 3 years as the new administration is just spending, printing, and there seems to be no end in sight.
Wait a minute. You mean these stimulus checks that were sent out, 3 of them so far, they didn't come from some reserve fund, some excess money that we had socked away somewhere?
Just the stroke of a computer key, right out of thin air.
Wow. Okay, so the dollar itself is threatened. What about stocks? I mean, the stock market's been doing pretty good, hasn't it?
The stock market in the last 10 years had probably the best decade that it's ever had. Mm-hmm. But you got to ask yourself, where do we go from here? Since 1971, the dollar has been an absolute mess. The fiat currency experiment, paper money backed by nothing, no gold, no silver, all currencies floating against one another, has lost significant value over the last 40, 50 years. That experiment by Richard Nixon to end the gold standard in 1971 is imploding. Stocks today, stocks have been a beneficiary of all this debt. The last 20 years has been tremendous debt. We can go over the numbers in more detail if you'd like, but the debt situation is not fixable. Stocks have benefited from that. The question is, if you're sitting on a big stock portfolio and you don't want to speculate with all of your money, what's an option? That's where gold comes in.
Most people are in the stock market because of a 401k or an IRA. That has just pumped trillions and trillions of dollars into the stock market that was never there before. So obviously, stocks have grown by leaps and bounds. It's amazing to look at it now compared to where it was 10 years ago and even 20 years ago. It has really just ballooned up there. But how has gold compared in its value and in its growth to what the stock market has been able to do?
It's an important question when you're an investor. And we're investors. We feel that there's opportunity in many markets. Certain stocks have done well. Certain stocks have gone to zero. Somebody who has a portfolio or an IRA needs to consider that fortunes are made through speculation. Fortunes could also be lost through speculation. Gold keeps you rich. That seems to be the relationship over the last 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Gold, since 1999, has outperformed the Dow by about 60%.
Wait a minute, say that again.
The Dow, since 1999, has been outperformed by gold by 60%.
Wow.
But NASDAQ has done remarkably well in some NASDAQ stocks over the last 10 years. We're not here to say that gold is the best investment in the world and should be owned 100% by everyone. What we're here to say, Dave, is that people should have choices. People should understand right now that we could be in the mother of all debt bubbles that is getting ready to burst and implode. This debt is a problem, and what can you do to protect yourself from this point on?
Coming up in just a moment, we'll have our featured precious metal product of the week. This is the Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group's senior trader and Marine Corps veteran, James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard with Ken Russo. And today, our featured precious metal product and today our topic is gold versus stocks. And Ken, we're going to talk for just a moment about a very specific product that you have that I'm holding in my hand. Listen to this. I love doing this. That's a coin.
Sounds like real money.
Real money. I mean, that's not tinkle tinkle. That's real heavy duty money. So we're talking about the gold Canadian maple leaf. This is a gorgeous coin. It's very shiny. How do you characterize this when you rate this coin? You have a term for it.
Well, that's a very popular coin. I would say that could be the second most popular gold coin in the world, next to the gold eagle. The gold maple leaf is very reputable. The mint in Canada does a great job. They make very high quality products. That's a 24 karat gold coin. Wow. The purity of that gold is 0.9999. They actually have a few gold maple leafs that reached 5.9 purity, but those are very rare. Wow. Those coins can be owned in your possession, or they could also be owned inside of your IRA.
Wow. And if I want to buy this, we're talking a little bit over $2,000 for this coin?
Roughly, that would be a pretty competitive market price at this point. And we believe if you hold the gold Canadian maple leaf over the next few years, as wealth preservation first, we believe that the Canadian maple leaf could appreciate by a 50 to 100% over the next 3 to 5 years.
But you're not necessarily saying, from what I hear you saying, don't buy this to speculate and think, oh, it's just going to grow in tremendous value and I'm just going to make money hand over foot. What you're saying is preserve your wealth compared to the value of the dollar, cash, or the value of stocks, right?
We believe there's a lot of speculation going on in the markets right now. Speculation in the dollar, speculation in cryptocurrency, speculation in equities, which are stocks, speculation in real estate. There has to be a part of your nest egg, Dave, that is safe and secure. Part of your nest egg that you have to preserve, wealth preservation. And gold should fill that part of wealth preservation. We think right now 25% of your net worth, because the markets are so dangerous and there is so much speculation, you should consider owning that much physical gold in coin or bar form.
What percentage again?
25 to 50%.
So you're not asking for all of it.
You never put all of your eggs in any one basket, right? We believe there's always opportunities, Dave, in every market. Different markets, there's a right time to buy and a right time to sell. But when we've seen such a huge run in the last 10 years in stocks and in real estate, the main reason is because of debt and easy money. You have to step back and say to yourself, how do I preserve what I've made? I'm lucky, I'm grateful, but how do I preserve this for me and for future generations? And we believe the answer is physical gold and silver.
The Canadian gold maple leaf has a beautiful rendering of Queen Elizabeth on the front. It's a gorgeous coin. And you can buy these, you can buy them one at a time and build them up over time as you have the money available. Or you can move money from an IRA or an old 401k and buy a bunch of them, right?
Absolutely. We have some clients that want to protect $2,000, or we have some clients that want to protect $200 or $2 million.
Wow.
And a lot of our clients like Lady Liberty better than Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
But
yeah, I get that.
I would just say that the market right now is very tight on supply of gold. Many of the mints are falling behind. The demand for gold since our new administration has taken over has been historically high. I think we know why, and we see that trend continuing. It's a great coin. We would consider owning it for sure at these prices.
For the person that doesn't know anything about buying precious metal, about buying gold, you have a guide that you are making available, right?
We have us that are available to do it verbally, and we have a guide that's available for free for anybody who wants to call in or come on in. 21 pages or so. It gives a nice background on all the different world mints, some of their reputation, some of the products they make. It's a good background, good knowledge, good education on some basic principles of owning precious metals.
And it's absolutely free. All they have to do is call you, right?
Absolutely free.
855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. Do yourself a favor and educate yourself on gold and how to buy gold and what its worth is. Call them and get this free guide. It is tremendous. Again, 855-322-GOLD. In just a minute, I want to come back and I want to talk about some of the other ways that people try to preserve wealth and a couple of the flaws that are really out there. So coming up in a moment, we will be back with more about how to invest in gold and silver and other precious metals here on The Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
Sebastian Gorka here. The Biden-Harris administration is governing through an unprecedented number of executive orders. We have a good idea of what their agenda means for the country and for your finances. More debt, more regulations, slower growth, and higher taxes. There's even talk of a digital wallet currency and a so-called Great Reset. With massive new spending programs, the Fed is printing money even faster than before. This will likely cause the dollar to fall and gold prices to rise. That's why it's never been more important to own physical gold and silver, and the dealer I trust to do business with is veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. The experts at Midas Gold can even help you convert a portion of your IRA into physical gold and silver to stabilize your portfolio against the coming storm. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, and today our topic is gold versus stocks. So let's look at what we've talked about so far. Gold versus stocks, the values that's there, and how they've performed over the years. And we've taken a look at the gold Canadian maple leaf coin, gorgeous coin, worth a lot of money. Now, let's dig into some of the reasons for and the different ways of using gold and silver and other precious metals to safeguard and perhaps to grow your wealth as well. I want to talk about the safety for just a moment. Safety of preserving wealth. In the news recently, we have seen reports of cyber attacks. Cyber attacks on pretty big firms, and I'm wondering what would happen to my money if my bank was hacked, if my stock portfolio was hacked, or maybe if I bought Bitcoin and that somehow someone was able to get into that. What am I facing there?
Be pretty scary to wake up and see 000 balances in any of those accounts, I'll tell you that. And I mean, when you talk about a pipeline that was hacked and you talk about a large meat processor and solar winds at the end of the last year that got into government data, it's scary. And for people to think that the bank or financial institutions couldn't be hacked because there's people out there that just want to do bad things and make money is really silly. And I know that risking all of your wealth in your nest egg on that thought is just as silly. You have to have a portion of your wealth, Dave, in physical, tangible assets that you could hold on to that aren't subject to the electrical grid. They're a store of value. There is no third-party risk. There's no leverage or margin. That's where gold and precious metals come in. We feel it's very important.
It's a very topsy-turvy economic market out there. I mean, there are a lot of ways for me to invest my money. I can invest in real estate. I can invest in stocks and bonds. There are all kinds of ways. Bitcoin, like you mentioned, that sort of thing. There are a lot of ways to invest money. But for me, when you're talking about, and these are the key words, wealth preservation, when we're talking about that, I look at those and I get uneasy. I look at this coin that we have talked about today and the value it has, and I have a lot more assurance with this than I do with those in putting a portion of my investments and my future economic security, a lot more confidence in gold and silver and platinum and those sort of precious metals.
I think any reasonable investor understands that there's opportunities in all different markets, as we do. Some of those markets may prove to be great from this point on in the next couple of years, but they also may be awful. There's a lot of risk in the markets right now because of all this debt and all the money that's been printed. There has to be a stable part of your portfolio, something that provides a good foundation. And with all this speculation, free money, gambling, almost in a way, gold plays a very important part in this day and age. It needs to be considered by every investor at this point.
How long have you been doing this, been working with precious metals?
Precious metals, about 15 years, all markets, close to 30 years.
So your experience prior to precious metals, how did that compare to this?
To me, every market has its own equal opportunities. Each market provides good times to own it and bad times to own it. Gold, though, is something you could hold on to. It's tangible. It's not a stock. It's not something that you really should look to trade. It's not something that, you should be buying on margin or through a mortgage or through loaned funds. It's something you could own outright, control it. It's just a very different type of asset.
Okay, let's say that I've got an old 401k, or I've got an IRA, and I want to use a portion of that now to buy physical gold. What are the tax ramifications?
If you do a rollover, Dave, or if you do a transfer, there isn't a tax implication.
Wow.
You can just have an account that's backed by physical coins and bars rather than paper.
Oh.
Some people may not want to have all of their retirement funds in stocks or in mutual funds or in annuities or in money markets. Many people don't understand that a money market in an IRA is not insured by the FDIC.
Wow.
Not insured by the FDIC.
Wow.
Many people may realize that the money market funds in their IRAs these days are now called U.S. government money market funds. Considering we're such a broke nation and we're in so much debt, that's an awfully interesting name. So what I would say is If you feel that your IRA has grown to a point that you're satisfied with and you want to protect that and preserve that, you should consider moving some or all of it into some form of precious metal, possibly gold, silver, or platinum.
And you indicated earlier that you could see someone perhaps moving up to 25% over. You're not asking them to move the entire amount over to, as you said, put all their eggs in one basket. But that provides some real stability, I would imagine.
It gives you some control. It gives you some. It gives you the opportunity to have some options in the future.
What I love is I can actually buy this coin or a bunch of these coins, and you will deliver them. I will have them physically in my hand, and I can store them away safely in a safe or a lockbox at the bank. I can do that.
It's a lot different than just a digit on a computer screen or a digit on a bank ledger. To have something in your control that you can touch and feel, feels like real money.
Yeah.
Feels tangible. See, it feels like wealth. It feels safe. And we believe a portion of your nest egg that you've worked very hard for, may have taken years, should have some gold in it.
Gold is precious. I mean, this coin just feels good. There's something about gold that just feels really good. But gold is so precious that we use it for some of the most precious things in our lives, like our wedding ring and special gifts to those we love. We make sure that it's gold involved as well as perhaps gems, but gold is always sort of the basis for that. So gold has a lot of value to it. Let's go back to that gold buying guide, gold investing guide, because that intrigues me, and I think it's a great offer. Maybe repeat that for those who have tuned in a little bit late. What you're offering to them, absolutely free.
It's a bullion guide on coins and owning bullion. It covers the 5-6 major government mints that we follow and get coins from. It covers some of the major producers and assayers of gold bars and silver bars and platinum. It's a good basic educational tool for someone that's looking to learn about precious metals. But I would encourage people to talk to the representatives at Midas Gold Group. You can't become an expert in gold or silver by reading a guide, but it's a start. There's no obligation. And we feel it's very important that people have knowledge of other options versus just the ones that they're being told about day in and day out.
Start the relationship. You can dip your toe in the pond. You can start with one coin, like the one that I'm holding. You can start with that and begin to learn about how to own precious metals. For those of you who are experienced investors, you already know the value, and I can't think of a better group to call and to go to and to do business with than the Midas Gold Group. So give them a call. That's going to bring us to the end of our time together here on The Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, advice given here is not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call the Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD, and ask for that free guide. You can log on to their website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. But be sure to call them at 855-322-GOLD. Something I'm very proud to tell you is that the Midas Gold Group is very proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with the Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. I'm Dave Dino with Ken Russo. Join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.